Batgirl issue 29. Mairghread Scott on the writing, of course, and Paul Pelletier on the art. This is Batgirl racing to the art gallery because Grotesque has got like a mass murder planned to cover up the fact that he swapped all the art with the fake art that he's got. Obviously the dark web are in this.
Worm.
Yeah, Worm. Which gets into the fight and stuff later because it starts taking over. There's several people who have got the implants or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And they turn into robot. Well, not robots, but like
what are they called? The
cybernetic controlled drones or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, there's a name that Babs uses.
Yeah. So that's kind of wrapped up the first arc of the run from Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was pretty solid. I think this arc as a whole has been a kind of a simple enough kind of settling in run or arc to sort of
testing the waters,
getting a feel for Babs. Which I think is my favourite part of this run so far is the characterization of Babs and Jim.
The whole Gordon's thing.
Yeah.
Gordons are tough.
Yeah, I think this issue might be my least favourite of the arc. Just when it resulted to, let's fight the cyber drones.
That's a fair complaint.
Yeah.
I do.
By the way, they're called terminals.
Terminals. There you go. Which actually is a really fitting name for them. Do you know what I really like about this though? Is I like the idea that the cop who's been taken over ultimately makes the right choice and then gets killed anyway. I think the worm stuff is more interesting here than it actually got in Nightwing, because it sets up this idea that if this guy's controlling anyone like this, it can just snap its fingers and dead. That's what happens here. He just gets killed.
Yeah, there's consequences for dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I like that Babs hitting on his addiction, and then him telling what it is, and she's kind of like, oh, because that wasn't what she was expecting. So I just like how that played. But yeah, the strength here was the stuff with Gordon and Babs, and
all the character stuff's great. And I said I wasn't too big on the fight section. It still is fine. It's as fight sections go. Art's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. It felt a little bit like, it's the end of the arc, so we have to have a bit of a fight.
Yeah, that's fair. I like what they did with the doubt here, because both Gordons at some point in this issue kind of doubt themselves. At one point, Babs basically gives up and says she doesn't matter, and then it's like, no, wait, what am I talking about? I'm being stupid. Like, get up. Gordons don't give up. And I liked it when Gordon's in the hospital afterwards. Jim Gordon, that is, and he's lying there on the bed. He kind of cries a little bit and says, I give this side so much, and yet it somehow finds a way to just take more.
And I like how Babs like, well, we both can't be the one that's upset, but then she's kind of like, well, no, sometimes it's just life.
Yeah.
So I like that she's coming to that. There's over an arc. There's already been a change.
Yeah.
In her.
And so the little tease at the end where it maybe sets up some future stories here, which implies that Jim Gordon's going to be a prominent character in this, just ongoing.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It makes sense. So Dad.
Yeah.
But the FBI show up looking for him. Like, we need to speak to Jim Gordon. So we'll see how
this is definitely about Junior, right?
Very possibly. I'm also wondering if maybe the Darknet framed him for like all the paintings or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, because Junior we know is showing up in Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll get him here at least until after that.
I think it'll be after that because they set him up in the annual, right? Or in issue 25 with the extra stories. We set up that he will in some capacity be around.
Yeah,
and that's what made me think about it, but I forgot about him showing up in Batman.
And that's only in like a couple of months where that's happening. So I imagine we'll get him.
Isn't the first issue in December?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I would think. Okay, it's third arc. That's where we can do Junior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could do in the second, but I just assuming it comes after the.
I mean, she has a legitimately great serial killer brother. Like, you can't not use that every so often.
Yeah,
such a good creation.
Even do the Hannibal thing where they have to team up. You know what I mean? Like, and he's behind bars.
It's kind of the joke that they almost put in Cabin in the Woods, where there was going to be like just a regular guy who was a killer, called Kevin, and that the joke is that no, some people don't have masks, or like they're not vampires, they're not this, they're not that. He's just a guy named Kevin, and I kind of like the idea that Batman has a villain who's just Jim.
Yeah.
He's just Jim Gordon Jr. He's not some big
Kevin
wacky personality.
Was like Jason. So, but I like that.
Yeah.
That version too. You know what I mean? Like I thought the name Kevin was just supposed to be like Jason. Like he's this big, masked killer. But the fact that he's a person.
Yeah, because I believe the deleted scene. I don't know if it was one they filmed or if it was one that was scrapped before they shot it, but. It was like they thought it was just a guy that was working there, was helping them, and then he turned around and stabbed someone, and it was like, oh, he's Kevin from the board. anyway, Batgirl was good. I'm liking Scott's run so far, and mainly the character stuff, the personal stuff between her and her dad. I like that a lot. And the art's very good as well. Yeah, and I like what the villain did. Like I say, I like the snap of the fingers and the instant death. Even if it does kind of resolve into just kind of let's fight the robot-y villains.
Yeah.
So that's a fair complaint. What are you giving it, Matt?
Well, 7.5. Pretty good, but nothing spectacular.
Connor.
Yeah, I'm with the 7.5.
I'm gonna give it a straight 8.
Fair enough.
Mr. Positivity for change.